Hi everyone, I'm Jack, a radiology trainee in London. In today's video, I'm going to show you how an average week looks for a first-year radiology trainee in the UK, also known as an ST1. The timetable for my week is up here. As you can see, I have a mix of ultrasound, fluoroscopy and on-call sessions. It's about 8 AM at the moment, so it's time to grab some breakfast and then head off. So I'm about halfway through my first year. I've just finished my Part 1 FRCR exams, that's your physics and your anatomy, and now I'm just basically getting ready for ARCP, which is the annual review of competency and progression, which basically means that you can pass your first year. So this morning I had a training ultrasound list with one of the sonographers. We also do sessions with senior registrars and consultants as well. That's where you get one-to-one teaching on ultrasound. So I got observed doing ultrasound scans. In this session you get half an hour per patient, so it's a bit longer than normal ultrasound lists. With these lists you're supernumerary, so you're only there to learn, which is quite good. One of the patients didn't want to be ultrasounded by a trainee, which does happen sometimes, but you get used to it because you've had it before in med school and things. But otherwise it was a good list, so we had some ultrasound livers, abdomens, urinary tract. Afterwards I went for lunch with some of the other radiology trainees, and then about to start my afternoon session. So it's about 5:10 now, so I just left hospital. This afternoon I attended one of the prostate cancer MDTs, where they talk about treatments for patients with prostate cancer, and then afterwards I did a little bit of plain film reporting. And depending on your training scheme, in our first year we have to report 1,000 plain films. Monday night is badminton night, so I'll be going to play that, and that's it. So I got back from badminton tonight, and this doesn't usually happen, but I am working a bit late. It's all my own doing, because basically we have an audit presentation coming up. So during your first year, you have to complete one audit, and we're presenting to our consultant supervisor this week. I didn't get around to preparing the presentation last week, so I'm basically doing it in the evening. The other thing I do is I check my fluoroscopy list for tomorrow morning in case there's any surprises. Usually if the list isn't full, I just report some plain film, which I probably will do tomorrow because I'm running behind on my numbers. So it's Tuesday now. So this morning I had fluoroscopy, where I was doing cystograms and nephrostograms. In most training schemes, the first year trainees do fluoroscopy. That can include things like barium swallows usually. And once you're trained up, you end up leading the list yourself as the only doctor, and you have some HCAs and sometimes radiographers there to help. It's one of the more satisfying parts of the job because you get to actually do something and you get some ownership over the list. Also, you can tell people good news if you find that their surgery, for example, has been successful. Patients are often very grateful, as one of them was today, because it meant that I could remove a catheter. Afterwards, we then had neuroradiology teaching, so I sat with some of the other trainees in a room, and it was on Teams, so we loaded up images on packs and had some hot seat teaching, which is where you sit and report a case for the consultant, and that's quite a good way to get feedback on your reporting. So it's about 5:40 PM now, just got home. This afternoon I was doing some subspecialty CT reporting. So I'm currently on a uroradiology rotation, so I was reporting some CT KUBs. During your first year, depending on your training scheme, you'll be allocated to different rotations. For us it's chest, GI radiology, uroradiology, and a general block where you do CT and ultrasound. Other things I could report include MR prostates or CT urograms, CT kidneys, etc, etc. When I've reported a few of these, I'll then go find a consultant to run through them with, and that way I get direct one-to-one feedback. That's one of the good things about radiology training, because you do get a lot of consultant contact. Anyway, I'm now going to get changed and go play some tennis, which is another hobby that I've restarted since starting radiology, and I'll see you all tomorrow. It's Wednesday now, about 7:30. We have teaching at 8 o'clock, so I've gotten up earlier to go to work. It's funny that it feels really early, but back when I was on surgery and intensive care, pretty much all my shifts used to start at 8 o'clock. Or earlier. So I was a bit busy today, so I didn't record anything earlier. Essentially, I've just got home. This morning we had some uroradiology teaching with one of the consultants. So this was small group teaching that we tend to have most days, and it's really nice to have a consultant delivering the teaching, which essentially involved us presenting cases in the hot seat, and then the consultant would talk through them with us as a group as well. After that, I had a meeting about this audit that I've been doing with some of the other first years and second years, and that was with one of the consultants. After that, I did a little bit of plain film reporting, again because I'm trying to meet my numbers. For lunch, I had lunch in the hospital canteen with some of the other first years. We usually try and have lunch together if people are around, and to be honest, that's one of the best parts of the job, because you just get to hang out with other people who are at the same training stage as you. Whenever I think back to how my training was before, Often lunch was a really rushed affair, and usually you'd be doing discharge letters at the same time. In the afternoon, I was on another training ultrasound list. Now, it might seem like I'm doing a lot of ultrasound lists, and that's because I've deliberately asked for that. Essentially, I was finding that I wasn't getting much ultrasound practice. So I spoke to the rota coordinator, who's one of the other more senior registrars, and they've scheduled me in for more of these lists. We saw some quite interesting cases. So it was a mix of kidney lesions and looking at livers. Saw a couple of gallstones as well. I stayed a bit late to finish reporting those, so I left about 5:30, which is a bit later than normal. Tonight I'm taking a rest day from exercise because everything's sore, to be honest. I can barely walk. I think I'll keep it a chill one, and I'll be on call tomorrow. So it's actually Friday night now because I was a bit busy in the last couple of days. So on Thursday I was on call. Our on-call shifts as first years are from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. in my hospital. I actually came in earlier because we were having a meeting with our training program director, and that was to catch up with how first year was going for all of us. And then after that I got myself breakfast in the hospital canteen and then went off to my shift. So on the on-call shifts, you normally answer the phone to vet scans, and throughout the day you can also try and report some CT scans and get a more senior registrar to then check them over with you. And that's quite a good way to get some feedback too. In first year we don't do any weekends or night shifts. However, I will have to do them from ST2 onwards, and that does vary by training scheme as well. I think in some schemes, after you pass your Part 1 exams, you then do weekends and maybe nights as well. Today I went in for 8 o'clock for some GI teaching. Again, this was small group teaching with a consultant, and it was very good. It was looking at small bowel MRI. After that, I spent the rest of the day reporting within my subspecialty, and I went through a few CT scans and got them checked by one of the consultants. Around lunchtime, one of the reps from an ultrasound company came to demonstrate their new machine, so I joined in and learned a little bit about how ultrasound machines work. For lunch, the consultants all got pizza delivered, so we all had pizza together, and I carried on reporting in the afternoon. I finished around 5 or a few minutes after 5, and then the consultants went out for drinks, and they usually invite the trainees along as well. So I went out for a drink with them, and then afterwards met up with one of my med school friends for dinner, and that is the end of the week. So that's the end of maybe a typical week as a first year radiology trainee. Like and subscribe for more, and leave any questions in the comments. I'll try and answer them. See you next time.